Hi everybody, today we're going to be talking about The Most Dangerous Game. It originated as a short story that came out in 1924. It's about a rich dude, a Russian aristocrat, a big game hunter who gets bored hunting animals, so he decides that, hey, it's a great idea, let's start hunting humans for sport instead. The ultimate game, the most dangerous game, you see? Over the years, there have been many adaptations of The Most Dangerous Game short story. It's also known as one of the most successful and popular, influential short stories of all time. It is also the originator, the mother or father, or whatever you want to say, of both, I suppose, of vegan horror as a concept, you know, because Texas Chainsaw Massacre would also adopt this idea of people going crazy, hunting animals, killing animals in a, animal factory, eating meat, and then losing their mind, and just for whatever reason, killing the animals not being enough for them, so they graduate to humans, or eating the animals not being enough for them, so they become cannibals. There's a lot of different versions of this throughout time. I would say Most Dangerous Game is the originator of it in cinema. Most famously, in 1932, there was a film, The Most Dangerous Game. It is one of the best of its kind. It is a black and white RKO picture, and it is definitely worth checking out. It's one of my favorites. Those animals I've hunted, now I know how they felt. Thriller adaptation of the famous novel of the same name, the book has been adapted so many times it's hard to count. Once as a Jean-Claude Van Damme / John Woo movie, and once starring Ice-T. That's a lot of range coming from a single book, I'll tell you that much. This is one of those tales that works as a perfect vegan / anti-hunting movie, although it may piss off dog lovers. It is eerily atmospheric and more of a horror movie than anything else. The cast is great, especially Fay Wray reprising her Scream Queen role, made famous in King Kong. And finally, through the course of the film, we reach the climax to find some icing on the cake in form of a killer wrestling move that the lead hero performs on a dastardly goon. Then we have Game of Death, Run for the Sun, Bloodlust, Confessions of a Psycho Cat. A lot of these are, some of these are rough adaptations, some of these are direct adaptations. Most of them kind of take the source material and do their own thing with it. It's a fun allegory because you can pretty much do anything you want with it. You can use it as an allegory for poverty. You can use it as a vegan allegory. It's definitely a power play. There was a movie in all the way, let me just jump up to one of the more recent adaptations in 2020. The Hunt was political, had a political allegory, and it was the liberals hunting the Republicans. It was a very controversial film of the time. It's an excellent movie, and it was just a really fun play on the source material. I had forgotten about this, but The Pest, the John Leguizamo movie, was actually an adaptation, a rough adaptation of Most Dangerous Game. It's a comedic film, of course. John Leguizamo is it's one of those in the wrong place at the wrong time movies. This big game hunter is planning on hunting this athlete, this really this worthy opponent of sorts, if you want to call it an opponent, and instead gets John Leguizamo, who is far from that in the film. But let's go back up to the top here. So then you have a movie called The Suckers in 1972. A lot of these I haven't seen. I'll be honest, I haven't seen them all. There's a lot of them. Then a movie called The Woman Hunt, and here's a movie that I did see called Turkey Shoot. It's a Brian Trenchard Smith film. He's one of my favorite Australian grindhouse filmmakers, let's say genre filmmaker. He did 2 of the Leprechaun movies, 2 of the better sequels. He did Man from Hong Kong, which is a martial arts action film, and he did Dead End Drive-In, which is another great allegory film. And the list goes on and on. The guy did so much great stuff, and he's known for his movies being funny but also very bloody. And they have an intellectual element, but they are fun popcorn grindhouse films. Turkey Shoot is no different. Some people consider it one of the worst movies of all time. Some people consider it just a really fun Brian Trenchard Smith movie, one of those so bad it's good movies. He would say that it's not necessarily one of his better films. Turkey Shoot is a good time. It has a great cast. It has a werewolf man and all sorts of outlandish things going on. In this movie, it's a group of prisoners being hunted, and it is a amazing example of what you can do with this source material. Then we have a movie called Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity. Sounds like another genre picture. Deadly Prey, and then now we're on to Hard Target, the John Woo film.
Hard Target is an extremely enjoyable John Woo neo-western featuring an overabundance of slow-mo, ridiculous hair, and a plethora of whacked-out stunts. You will no doubt laugh out loud with glee at the screen as the ridiculousness unfolds. There's just something about the Van Damme/Woo blend that really hits the spot. This is also the first of 2 films that Jean-Claude Van Damme would make with horror director Sam Raimi, the second being 1994's Time Cop. The plot is a pre-Hostel meets The Most Dangerous Game tale. This would actually go on to inspire the 1994 Ice-T actioner Surviving the Game. Lance Henriksen and Arnold Vosloo make great mustache-twirling villains. Henriksen even allowed himself to be set on fire for this movie. Well, his jacket anyway. Being that Sam Raimi also produced the Darkman sequels, I'm assuming that Vosloo co-starring in this had to have played a major role in getting him cast as Liam Neeson's replacement. The film has a real cool New Orleans setting, with matching Wilford Brimley in full-blown Creole-speaking voice. This was obviously a welcome surprise. Brimley as badass action hero may not be what we're used to, but in Hard Target, it's most definitely what we get. Van Damme's awkward, heavily accented line delivery only adds to the film's camp factor. There is a wild and crazy, abandoned amusement park climax that I think takes place in a warehouse. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what was going on there, but it looked great. John Woo basically turns Van Damme into the Birdman of New Orleans. In various scenes, we are treated to shots of him posing with birds and even making bird noises. White doves have been a trademark in almost every John Woo film that I can think of, but in this particular film, we get pigeons as a bonus. The entire film plays like a Woo meets Van Damme fever dream, with the end feeling like a Nightmare on Elm Street set piece. Perhaps Woo could have handled one of those sequels if given the chance. Just maybe if he had made it to the States a bit sooner, we would have found out.
Very interesting, very interesting. I would have to say I agree with most of those sentiments. Now we're on to an Ernest Dickerson movie called Surviving the Game. This one has an all-star cast with Rutger Hauer and Charles S. Dutton, and Gary Busey is great in this movie, and Ice-T. It's basically an Ice-T starring film.
This is an early Ernest Dickerson film and remake of The Most Dangerous Game. The film features a homeless and dreaded Ice-T. He fits in nicely with the plethora of impressive character actors supporting him. Gary Busey's storytime monologue at supper is one of his all-time best. Very effective stuff, and apparently a lot of it was improvised. And Rutger Hauer asked for the scene to be cut because he felt it was taking the shine away from him as the star. This is also one of Rutger Hauer's greatest roles/performances, by the way, and when considering his massive career, that's really saying something. In fact, the entire ensemble cast is top tier. Fantastic thespians at the top of their game. A game that they are most certainly surviving, unless you count the plot of the movie, that is. Spoiler alert. The collaborative vibe on display is a powerful one. They are like a pack of wild, unhinged animals, and there is a legitimate constant tension in the room, like they could turn on each other at any moment. Great stuff.
Okay, just to wrap this up now, we already mentioned The Pest. The Eliminator was another film, Never Leave Alive. This would be an awesome movie marathon to just watch all of the adaptations of Most Dangerous Game and all of the many things you can do with it. Tremors Shrieker Island. Now, I did see this one. This was the last of the Tremors films, at least up to this point. And they say it's an adaptation. This is a rough adaptation. It's definitely a big game hunting type film, but I don't remember the humans ever being the subject of the hunt, or the hunted in this film. It's just the graboids, basically. So in that for that reason, I don't know that it belongs on this list, but I guess it's a big game hunter, so maybe that's what they thought. It's definitely an entertaining film. I recommend watching all the Tremors movies. It's a great franchise. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the most enjoyable movie marathons that I've ever had. I binged all of them from the first to the last, and it was a great time. Then we have Apex. They did a remake of The Most Dangerous Game in 2022. I heard it was not very good. I did not see it. I don't plan on seeing it because The Most Dangerous Game from the 30s is like a perfect film, so I don't even know why they... I mean, I know why they did it, because it actually... Most Dangerous Game became public domain in 2020, so you're going to start to see a lot of direct Most Dangerous Game adaptations moving forward, because they don't have to pay anybody anything for it, and they can capitalize off the name because it is a famous marketable name. And then finally, a movie called Death Hunt, another variation, this time Canadian off of the Most Dangerous Game name. At least they went in a more creative way route, and they used their own name in Death Hunt and didn't just capitalize on the public domain name, although they could have. So we got to give them credit for that. Thanks so much for listening and watching this video today. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time talking about this great movie and this excellent source material. You should definitely watch most of these movies. The ones that I said that I've seen that I can recommend, definitely see those. Every one of the movies that I mentioned that I saw, they're excellent to various degrees, but I recommend every single one of them. Have a ball, have a blast. Thanks for watching. Take care.